In the spring of 1947, a young bride embarked on a honeymoon that would last only 8 days, ending in a mysterious death that has puzzled investigators for decades. This is the haunting story of Christina Kettlewell, forever known as the 8-Day Bride. Christina Mocon was a 22-year-old bank employee living in Mimico, Ontario, a suburb of Toronto. Described by colleagues as capable and diligent, Christina seemed to have a promising future ahead. After a 3-year courtship, Christina eloped with 26-year-old war veteran John Jack Kettlewell on May 12, 1947. Their relationship, however, was notably intertwined with Jack's best friend Ronald Barrie, a 28-year-old Italian immigrant and professional ballroom dancer. Ronald's constant presence raised eyebrows, leading Christina's family to suspect he harbored feelings for her. Following their elopement, the newlyweds spent several days in a Toronto apartment on Tyndall Avenue. Unconventionally, Ronald accompanied them throughout their honeymoon. On May 17th, the trio traveled to Ronald's secluded cottage in Severn Falls, accessible only by boat, a setting that would soon become the backdrop for tragedy. At the cottage, Christina's behavior became erratic. She experienced sudden crying spells and appeared dazed. Conversations with Ronald revealed her doubts about Jack's love, hinting at deeper emotional turmoil. On May 20th, disaster struck. Ronald returned to find the cottage ablaze and Jack inside, disoriented with a head injury. Despite Ronald's efforts, Christina was nowhere to be found. The fire consumed the cottage within an hour, leaving behind charred remnants and unanswered questions. That evening, Christina's body was discovered 150 feet from the cottage in shallow water. Remarkably, she bore no burns or signs of violence. An autopsy detected codeine in her stomach, but the official cause of death was drowning, a perplexing conclusion given the circumstances. The ensuing inquest drew significant public attention. Jack and Ronald were scrutinized, but no charges were filed due to insufficient evidence. The jury remained undecided on whether foul play was involved, deepening the enigma surrounding Christina's death. Revelations of suicide notes added complexity. Addressed to Ronald, these letters detailed Christina's despair over her relationship with Jack, suggesting possible suicidal intentions. Yet questions lingered about their authenticity and Ronald's decision to withhold them until the inquest. Suspicion further mounted with the discovery of life insurance policies. Both Jack and Christina had policies naming Ronald as the beneficiary, and Ronald had insured his cottage, listing Jack as the beneficiary. These financial arrangements hinted at a possible motive, but concrete evidence remained elusive. In the years following, Jack remarried and started a family, never speaking of Christina again. Ronald relocated to New York in 1956, disappearing from public records. The true nature of their relationships and the events leading to Christina's death remain subjects of speculation. As the dust of the inquest settled, the public's curiosity only deepened. The headlines may have faded, but the questions never did. The tragic end of Christina Kettlewell became more than just a tabloid spectacle. It became a symbol of love gone wrong, secrets too heavy to carry, and truths that may have drowned alongside her in that shallow river. Every retelling of this story circles back to one undeniable fact. Christina was caught in a web woven by two men, Jack and Ronald, whose relationship seemed to blur the line between friendship and something more. Whether they were conspirators, lovers, or simply confused souls bound by loyalty, the ambiguity of their bond only adds fuel to the fire of speculation. Ronald's 3,000-word testimony painted a portrait of a man desperate to appear helpful, yet riddled with inconsistencies. One version had Christina present in the cottage. Another, she'd vanished before the fire. Between these conflicting accounts, Ronald emerges as the story's most cryptic figure. Helpful but not entirely forthcoming, protective but possibly manipulative. The insurance policies, the mysterious ring, the conveniently saved letters, all small threads in a fabric that many suspect was deliberately woven. And then there's Christina's own voice, her letters suggesting suicidal thoughts, her sister's warnings, and her premonitions about Ronald's presence on that fateful trip. Whether those were signs of unraveling mental health or clues in a far more orchestrated tragedy, we may never know. What we do know is this: the fire erased the cottage, the river claimed Christina, and time swallowed the truth. And for the families, the friends, and even the strangers who followed every headline, closure never came. Was Christina a victim of a sinister plot, or did she succumb to her own inner demons? The mystery of the 8-Day Bride endures, a poignant reminder of how little we may truly know about those closest to us. If there's one thing that haunts this story, more than the flames that swallowed the cottage or the cold silence of that riverbank, it's the emptiness left behind. Christina Kettlewell wasn't just a name in a headline or a face in a black and white photo. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a young woman navigating the uncertain waters of love, loyalty, and expectation in post-war Canada. Her story is often told with the intrigue of a mystery novel, a love triangle, a suspicious fire, a body found face down in 9 inches of water. but rarely is it told as a tragedy of a life slowly unraveling in plain sight. There were signs, little fractures in the image. A young woman who had everything to look forward to, newly married, fresh from a whirlwind elopement, shouldn't have been writing suicide notes, should not have been questioning whether she was truly loved. And yet, she was. Christina's mind, as pieced together by testimony, letters, and strained recollections, seemed to teeter between hope and despair. Was she coerced into a marriage she didn't want? Or was she clinging desperately to a man who was emotionally absent, perhaps even secretly in love with someone else? Then there's Ronald, the best friend, the third wheel, the man who brought them to that secluded cottage, and the last to see Christina alive. His role remains one of the most perplexing aspects of this tale. Why was he always there? Why was he the recipient of life insurance money in a marriage he didn't belong to? Why did he rescue Jack, save incriminating letters, but somehow lose track of the woman at the center of it all? And Jack. Quiet, damaged Jack, a war veteran who may have come home with wounds deeper than the physical. He claimed amnesia, claimed confusion, but when pressed, admitted to a relationship with Ronald that may have undermined his marriage from the start. Did he ever truly love Christina, or was she a cover, an escape, a casualty of emotional entanglements he never had the courage to navigate? When the fire burned down that cottage, it didn't just consume the walls, it incinerated any chance of clarity. Witnesses remembered different things. Letters were saved while lives were lost. Testimonies shifted with the wind. And Christina, the woman who should have had decades ahead of her, was reduced to whispers of scandal and speculation. This is not just a story about a death. It's about the erosion of truth, about how a life can quietly slip through the cracks while everyone else looks the other way. It's about the roles we play, the secrets we keep, and the damage we leave behind when we're too afraid to speak up, to step in, or to say goodbye. And so, nearly 80 years later, we're still left asking the same question. What really happened to Christina Kettlewell? And why does it still feel like everyone involved is hiding something? Some stories remain unsolved, lingering in the shadows of history. Subscribe for more tales that defy explanation.